Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races, such as the Daytona 24, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR schedule, such as the Daytona 500. We have events from disciplines all across the racing world, from the Indianapolis 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events utilize iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against every driver taking part. And as every race progresses, watch and feel the track change with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iracing.com/special-events.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Round 5. And so you set yourself up with the second third of this season. You're into the middle part now as you get yourself ready. And what a time to jump on in. This a circuit that has all of the European class about it, but has the American feel to go around. We're on the banks here in two different ways. The banks of North Holland in the Netherlands, but also the banked corners here of Zandvoort. Welcome to Racing Action here on SimSpeed TV and live on iRacing in the Formula B Super Formula Series. My name's Jake Sperry. Cam Dance is along with me for Racing Action here today. And Cam, as far as it's set, this is one where this might be the moment Timothy Fries-Larsen wants it to jump over and gain championship control. But more critically than that, today is one of the toughest circuits in the world. It's brilliant to lap, it's brilliant to drive. It's a very tough circuit to get correct and overtake.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's a very, very technical circuit. One of the more technical circuits we're going to be going to in this season. We were at Hockenheim last weekend, and then this weekend we're at Zandvoort, and then next weekend is Jerez. So we're starting to get into the midway and the back end of the championship, but this track is just something else. It's not something that you normally would be racing on in terms of a European circuit. You've got banking that's pretty much the sort of banking you find on American ovals, the sort of banking that you'd find at like somewhere like Daytona or Rockingham or somewhere like that, where you've got a massive amount of banking. And then you've got other corners which are just undulating all up and down everywhere. That's just not the flat and normal European circuit.
No, and this is going to be one of the strongest fields as we take our Google Earth look on down to where all of Racing Action is going to set itself in motion. We find ourselves just on the outskirts of Rotterdam and Amsterdam, right between the two here at Zandvoort, and a circuit that has seen motor racing in formula circles since the 1950s, and is one that pretty much says this is one of the most unique circuits out there. The dunes around it are protected. It's a 4.25 kilometer or 4.26 kilometer circuit, 14 turns, and it will run in a clockwise direction. But keys for today, Cam, I think as you look around at it, who can get a move at She Black turn 7? Who's got line at the Hugenholz turn 3? Who gets the run out of 13 and over back to Tarzan at turn 1?
Yeah, and the push to passes, the overtake system going to be really critical to get those runs as well. You're going to see a lot of it, especially onto that front straight out of turn 13, trying to get moves done, and out of turn 3 as well. It's going to be very, very exciting, very tough as well. And a lot of those other corners where you're going to have to really commit hard to a pass and just send one up the inside or around the outside, depending on how the corner flows into the next one to ensure you get that pass done.
Well, let's get ourselves then set with championship at the moment too, because there is a lot to talk about with the start of this season and the first 4 rounds, which have felt very much like 4 separate races. Adam Merchant in control, but not here today. Neither is Dan Jiang in 3rd position, so perfect chance for Timothy Fries-Larsen to step up. Ben Ford also not here. He's 4th, but Valerio Fagundes Tavares is here. He's in 5th in the championship, as is JT Smeaton in 6th. Sonny Black is currently 7th and not here. Neither is Rob Mandermarker on home soil in 8th position, leaving Victor Awad currently in 9th and Chris Rosenkrantz rounding out your top 10 as they go. It's 20 points for a win. It's 3 points for a pole position, 2 for 2nd, 1 for 3rd. 8 minutes of qualifying and a 27-lap race that we have here today. So about 115 clicks, shaver meter. So, disqualification then at 25. Incidents will be found at 17 points out there as they set. Qualifying currently underway. Got 8 minutes, of course, as we know, and they're already down 3 of those minutes. First times have come in on the board, Cam, as we focus with Timothy Fries-Larsen over through the Masters corner at turn 8, really throwing it about at this point. It is Jonsu Foster who is currently in control in the number 5, the Canadian, 113.8.
And it's looking pretty close at the moment. With the fact that it is a 5,994 soft, this field is very competitive. I can't imagine there's going to be a lot of time in between these times. This Fries-Larsen just coming through turn 12. And now that bowl of a corner where you really want to hug the inside before he comes through turn 13 and hammer down all the way through the bank turn 14. What sort of lap time is it going to be? It's tracking pretty nicely in relation to everybody else as he comes across the start finish line. It is going to put him
2nd
to start the lap, actually.
Well, there you go. P2, Timothy Fries-Larsen, 113.6. He's half a tenth short of Jonsu Foster, whose 2nd lap improves the mark even further. Victor Awad currently in 6th position. Yuki Shirakawa's gone 3rd quickest right now, and he's a driver that is keeping everybody on their toes. Japanese driver right now, has the Atasha on the front of the car, but out there has a setup that nobody really knows what he's doing.
Yeah, there's been a bit of talk amongst these guys as to what's going on with this guy's setup. He's been doing some, I guess you could say, funky things, not normal that you would get out of this car, and he's making it do things that would be not normal, getting it to rotate, getting it off the corner, doing all the sort of things that as a driver you want the car to do, but a lot of these guys just can't seem to find out how to make it happen. So it's going to be interesting to see what that car can do in the race, especially with the fact he's currently in not too bad of a position. He's on the 2nd row in 3rd at the moment. Fries-Larsen coming through the final corner, though. What's this lap going to show us? Is he going to put it on pole again, or is it going to be a front row start in 2nd? It's going to be a P2 start by the looks of it, not quite quick enough on the 2nd lap.
That one wouldn't count, so that is only going to do so much. Here comes Shirakawa, though, to the line. 13.7 to beat. 13.5. He's not going to get enough for pole. He's short by 200ths there. Jonsu Foster is currently best, but remember, Rosenkrantz hasn't yet set a time in the number 6. And over at Motegi, he was the driver who was putting it on pole in the Simpson machine. So can Rosenkrantz find something late on in his qualifying? It's only his first attempt, and he gets a massive amount of over rotation. That is a 4-wheel opposite lock.
Yeah, and he had a bit of a moment on the previous lap on his outlap as well, so he'll be hoping to try and put this lap together here. He's still got a little bit of time to get another one on the board if he has to, but certainly in a bit of a pressure cooker situation. Yeah, already had a mistake on his outlap, so that's potentially put it in his head that he's going to maybe make one here, but we'll see what he does when he comes across the line. It's looking not too bad of a lap, but ends up being P11, so potentially a little bit of a scrappy lap. Cold tyres though, so we'll see what the second lap happens.
Yeah, this is going to be critical, this second lap. I think it is going to make all of the difference as they now look to hope that they are going to be drivers who can set up and say, look, there's one more flicking through at Slopemaker, up through 6, She-Black turn 7, you tip in at 260 and you're still at 240 kilometers an hour through the middle as it all goes about. So there is some wonderful, wonderful running needed. Rosenkrantz really looking at the timer and hoping he's going to be the one who can just knock on the door. 25.6 opening sector. A second sector now that's looking to tick over and say how much more. 26.1 in the second and needs a lot of work to jump on up. You've got drivers like Emil Bernstorff, for example, in P6 in this field. This is a who's who right now. Top 7 split by 4/10. Who can find a way over the line? Can Rosenkrantz improve on a 14.4? Yes, it's a 13.6. It's good enough for 4th place. So there is all to play for here at Zandvoort, where qualifying is at a premium and the field now stacks itself and sets itself then here for racing action. So we'll run through the grid and see exactly how they fan about. Jonsu Foster then is going to be in control of this one right now, as it will be a 113.528 that gets it on the controlled position. Second along the board is Yuki Shirakawa out there for Nix Vision E-Motorsport, part of a Japanese creator community that is out there. A lot of streamers available in that overall group in the VTuber side of things. Timothy Fries Larson will line up third with Chris Rosenkrantz in 4th. James Byrne in 5th off the back of a 10th place in the iRacing Grand Prix Tour at Imola last night. Looking for a better run here with JT Smeaton along for company in 6th place. Then it's Emil Bernstorff, the former F2 driver in 7th. Lucas Hand will line up 8th, and it's Brazilians on row 5, Jake Spencer and Victor Awad, who find themselves in those places. Brett Greaves will line up 11th with Benjamin David in 12th place, still only within a second, as Valerio Fagundes Tavares will have a lot of work to do from 13th. So too will Kostek Solovier 14th, with Boyan Kuzna in 15th, and Mohamed Amin Rejgui there in 16th position. 2 drivers were unable to set a time in this 18-car field. They are Noddy Amel in the number 9, and in number 11, a classic specialist in Jack David Spickett, who will be very tough to go and deal with out there overall. So they set themselves up for 27 laps. They have themselves the 115 kilometers to run. They will also have the overtake system available to them. 200 seconds worth of it, but they have 100 seconds of cool off from when they press the button to when they don't. Expect most of it to be run at the end of the race. If you need to make moves, you will have to do so quickly. Championship leader and highest in iRating with 9,300. Then in 3rd position, some drivers who will be proving that they can be top dollar in terms of their bill. They will be hoping that their process is going to be through being lightning fast, being available, knowing that this is going to be an absolute barn burner here from Zandvoort. The stars are all out to show what they are capable of, and can Jonsu Foster hold them back as the green flag drops and we're underway? So good clean start, great start by JT Smeaton there from 6th position. He'll get to the inside as they go 3 wide, searching through the opening corner. Shirakawa almost getting into the side of Foster as they work through. Nice start though as they've gone through. Larson working around the outside, trying to get the inside here for the Hugenholzer at turn 3. Commands the line, he gets it. Shirakawa's run over and bang into the wall, and Bernstorff has to avoid as well.
Yeah, just the check up off the corner there from having that move that Frias Larsen pulled in front of him happen, just caused Smeaton to have to run into the back of him. Unfortunately, he's lost his front wing as well, so, well, maybe not. He's got front wing damage at least, so he's going to have to let everybody by, unfortunately, and Frias Larsen's going to get away with that one nicely.
Oh, that's very tough to deal with there. Took the road away, and there was no slow up then from JT Smeaton, who now is probably going to have to dive down into the pits. You can see how much it's turned up there on the right-hand side. Lucas Hand has gone through as they go into the Hans double out there. This right, then left, one of the prime places to get it done. Jake Spencer will be another one who will be looking to get through in the early stages. It is the front right that is buckled in at the moment, and Emil Bernstorff just trying to settle himself down, running the same livery that he ran when he was running in Formula 2, the Prema style, and he will thread a needle to get himself a run here in towards Tarzan at turn 1. Spencer, nothing for it. Brett Greaves following on with Solovier, Awad, Amel, and Benjamin David off the road in the background.
Yeah, just a bit wide. He's just gone a little bit too deep on the brakes by the looks of it. Unfortunately, he may have even clipped the grass on the way in, and unfortunately he's ended up off the road. Managed to save it quite nicely, didn't go around, but what a hectic first lap.
A very hectic first lap and a lot to try and dissect off of it. Jonsu Foster, though, leads. Timothy Frias Larsen in second, would have got 1 bonus point in qualifying. James Byrne up to third then. Will be looking to try and give the chase with Rosenkrantz and Hand. That's wide. A little bit of contact, or almost contact for Brett Greaves as he fights back there with Solovier. Noddy Amel in there. Awad gets a good run on the outside now and can use that with Fagundes Tavares sitting back there trying to work on through, and that's brilliantly done around the outside. Noddy Amel holding a lovely defence in the mock-up Ferrari colours and already finding himself up into the top 10 from a 17th place on the grid.
He's had a great start to move all the way up there. He has used a bit of his overtake system though already, so might be in a little bit of trouble later on in this race. Has to go defensive on the way into turn 1 a little bit just to avoid getting Awad past him, but that's a big move.
That was Mohamed Arine Rajgi then struggling to get by Boyan Kuzna, and Boyan has been able to hold himself there with a tiny bit of contact going through, both then on the cool down as they set. But let's take a look at this from JT Smeaton's perspective. A wonderful launch off of the start through the gears, got to the inside of Rosenkrantz without any worries at all, and then figured out, right, where do I go from here? You can see Larsen pivoting to the outside because Shirakawa just struggles there in the middle, but then to the outside you go, holding that line. There's a check up then as Larsen gets across the line, and then at what point do you have to slow down? Ultimately, you put that on Foster. It's the rule of the road. Last one into the accident pays the insurance bill.
Yeah, it is a bit like that, and not much JT Smeaton could do either. And the checkup you couldn't have expected, especially with the fact that Frias Larsen threw it in there and only just got the overlap in time to be able to get the pass completed. So he's unfortunately someone's paid the price, and there's been a couple unfortunately end up in that as well. But you can already see guys are already using that overtake system, trying to fend and potentially make some overtakes happen. Brett Greaves just before using it down the front straight, so it's already pretty busy back in the mid-pack trying to hold off positions.
Oh, and what is telling right now is how much Timothy Frias Larsen has used out there. He's already up and used about, I would say, up to 34 seconds worth of it here, compared to Jonsu Foster, who has not touched a button out there in the number 1. So big differences being found. Who will use and who won't? Who's gaining advantage? Who isn't out there at this point? There's James Byrne in third position, looking at Chris Rosenkrantz just behind, working a hard way through at Hans Erst, looking for a chance to attack off of the exit. And this is the setup corner, turn 13. It's lucky for some, but if you get out on that curb, it's so easy to spin up as you hit the banking.
Yeah, and it's very, very easy to run just ever so slightly wide, ended up in the gravel. Burn on the button, only a couple of seconds as well, not too long on the button, but that's going to now put him into the cool down period, and Rosenkrantz sitting pretty in a nice gap behind Burns now, and he's going to have a very good chance at a pass here. He looked up the inside and maybe thought about it, but not quite close enough to get it done.
No, not close enough, but there is still a lot more that can be done. Remember, this is a 27-lap race, so there's a lot of time to go and get it done. No chance at Shevlak corner here. It's 3 consecutive right-handers from Shevlak here into Masters, one of the toughest corners to set up for. Nadia Mel down the inside of Brett Greaves is going to get that done, and Kostek Solovier has also found a way through. So tough lap start then for Brett Greaves, who is now down 2, and there's James Byrne still holding Rosenkrantz off, but waiting for those 100 seconds to tick over to say, look, I've got it covered, I don't have to worry too much, and tiptoeing away now through Hans Erst, and again, having the cover, but this is a case of just hoping that you've got more to defend with. Otherwise, this is looking like a slam dunk for Chris Rosenkrantz, who is now on the button, looking for a run to get that big head of steam to go to the outside of Tarzan and get it done. Gets the clearance then before reaching turn 1. Thank you very much.
Yeah, very, very well. So always run wide though, and it's allowed Burns to come back at him a little bit, but just not quite enough of a run off the corner does Burns get. So Rosenkrantz still on the button and pulling away ever so slightly. Probably not a silly maneuver as well, just to try and get a little bit of a gap between him and Burns.
You can see it there, the cool-down period counting down on there right now, and it was an indication he's got another 70 seconds before he does it. So here's a little replay then of Brett Greaves and the pass done by Nadia Mel. This is a lovely pass, sets it up through the S's up the hill, gets to the inside of Shevlak and says yoink.
Yeah, very, very well set up and very nice overtake there by him to get that done. And these two are going at it again, the teammates battling between each other. A little bit of a mistake there. I think it was from Victor, I think it was. Yes, running a little bit deep and allowed Valerio to go on it through. So the teammates sort of working together, but also not at the same time.
Yeah, for goodness, Tavares then jumping up and saying, look, this is happy days for us in the way that we are running forward. 7 and 14, then finding themselves as multiples of each other as teammates by the relevancy of their iRacing out there, running along this main straight. 2.3, the gap now as it sets at the front of the field, and every little group now becomes interesting, and so too will the fact that Emil Bernstorff is being reeled in at the moment. In 5th place, he's used up a lot more of his OTS than he has seen behind that overtake system. Lucas Hand has an extra 50 seconds in the back pocket to attack Emil whenever he wants.
Yeah, and 2 tenths quicker as well last lap was Lucas Hand compared to Emil, so not quite sure where that time seems to be being gained. He didn't quite get a very good run off turn 3, but in this technical section he seems to be gaining all that time back. So very, very interesting difference in setups going on between these two here.
Yeah, a full 10th lost in the first sector, and then it was a case of shaving off the hundreds and thousandths in sectors 2 and 3. So Emil Bernstorff will keep an eye on that first sector maybe isn't going quite the way that it wants to, and rushing about now and looking forward for the next lap that comes available, lap 8 here of 27, meaning it will be 20 laps to go here at Zandvoort. Hand definitely not in a position to go and make a move of it just yet, but they've settled down, they've found rhythm, they've found form, and with a field as strong as this, you're talking about you need 4,500 iRating just to enter this top split here today, with a double split, so 3 splits out there. It's one of the strongest fields, and this is what you see. These are the best of the best out there in Super Formula Racing on iRacing, saying this is what we give our time up to go and do. We race, and we race aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're proving it today with how this racing has been. They've been, all these guys are just racing at a level that we don't typically see. As Bernstorff, I've just seen, has made a mistake and allowed Lucas Hand to come back at him. He's all over the rear end now, and going to potentially allow Lucas Hand to make a move here, but might not be close enough just yet. It'll definitely happen on the front straight though, by the looks of it, if he can keep that gap down.
Yeah, Emil needs to be nice and tight, get the power down quickly. You can see the Honda there versus the likes of what Emil Bernstorff is running at the moment. This is going to be very tough to go and navigate through, and this is where you battle and say, where do you go? Jonsu Foster, fastest lap with a 13.5, but here comes Hand, defensive line taken by Bernstorff, move back across then by Hand. You're racing up against Sim Racing royalties, one of the best content creators on the service is Emil Bernstorff, and he's not getting away past the former F2 driver who has said, proves actually in the past, I don't want to go full metal racing. I much prefer sim racing.
Yeah, which is a very strange thing to say for someone who's done real life racing. You kind of want to stay in the thing rather than get out of it, but the sim racing seems to be where it's at, and this is proving why with how amazing the racing is going, and the fact that it's just such hard work trying to race against these guys who are at that very, very high level.
And Emil Bernstorff then fending off and making sure there are no concerns with the way that this is going out there in this run. So very happy with this. 4 seconds now, the margin at the front. And actually, Timothy Friis-Larsson's got to be careful here because Chris Rosenkrantz is on the scene at 0.6 of a second behind. So this is now a race for second. And Rosenkrantz can be a threat in this championship for Timothy Friis-Larsson.
Yeah, he certainly can. He's shown some very, very good pace, has Rosenkrantz, over the past couple of rounds. And unfortunate incidents have unfortunately hampered that effort a little bit, but he's proving here today that he is not one to be messed with, and he is very, very, very quick. So if he can keep up here and get on a little bit quicker, he was the fastest car on track last time by.
Off the road. Sorry, we got Bojan Kushner off the road. He's had a big coming together there with Benjamin David, who's been desperate to get the move done down the inside. He has hit the brakes, he's hit it strong, and he's run him up the road and off the track. It is a vintage Turn 1 incident here at Zandvoort.
Yeah, it just looks like Model a lot on the inside front did Benjamin, and unfortunately he's understeered into the side of that car, and looks like Kuzna does have a little bit of front wing damage on that right hand side as well. Here's the replay of what's happened.
You can see here Benjamin David in the mock-up Force India down the inside, just runs it in deep and basically initiates the contact. Nothing that Bojan can do about it. He's left the room on the inside, and you have to play within the lines. He gave him more than enough space to make it happen. And speaking of which, here comes Rosenkrantz, defensive line by Timothy Friis-Larsson. Banking will help if you can hold it around the outside line. Not going to get there, but trying to pick up the momentum off of the exit of the corner. Doesn't quite work. Gerlach at turn 2 is so quick to turn up, and then the Hugenholz at turn 3. Rosenkrantz here is giving Timmy Friis-Larsson something big to think about, and it's not often that you see him on the back foot here, Timothy Friis-Larsson. And the troubles for Valerio, for goodness, Tavares.
Yeah, and he was fighting with, I think it was Brett Greaves, and I'm not sure what's happened there. Oh, contact between the two of them, unfortunately, on the way in.
Oh, well, let's have a look at this. Greaves immediately defensive to the inside. Tavares on that outside, pinches in for the corner. And in my view, I don't quite know where Brett Greaves is supposed to go in that.
Yeah, it didn't really look like Brett Greaves did much harm there, unfortunately. And with the way that corner is, it's always going to have that sort of an incident potentially happen with how hard they're fighting. But this battle is really on for a second now. Here comes Rosenkrantz, not on the button, and a very late defensive maneuver from Friis-Larsson there. He's going to get around the outside is Rosenkrantz. Oh, runs a bit deep though into the marbles, and he's going to end up losing that as a result. And Friis-Larsson going to come back, but Rosenkrantz is right there, and he's not going to let this go easily.
He's not letting it go, and that is critical here. He's trying to set up this run. It's worth noting Brett Greaves has front wing damage after that contact, so he's now down in the pits, and he's getting a front wing change before going back out and getting more of it. So Rosenkrantz continuing on, trying to find any way, any which way to go and get this move. And gets a lunge down the inside then, turn 9. Trying to steal one up, but that long line certainly helps then for Timmy Friis-Larsson. I think they've completely forgotten about Jonsu Foster now. This is just a pure scrap for second.
Yeah, it seems that way with how hard they're fighting. A very, very sneaky move to get it up the inside where Rosenkrantz looked, but didn't quite get the move done. It's a very, very optimistic corner, but can work if you get the run. As they're going to come onto the front straight once again. Still in cooldown period is Rosenkrantz now, so if Friis-Larsson wants to use the button, he's going to have an advantage, but I think he's just waiting for Rosenkrantz to get back into the same position as he has to go defensive again into turn 1. Rosenkrantz using the banky, but just not quite able to get the drive off the corner.
I think the key here is that Timothy Friis-Larsson, these 21-degree, very cold conditions, Timothy Friis-Larsson has such a control of this car. He moves at the 11th hour to go and defend at the moment where you get maximum amount of overspeed. And now here comes the chance, and Rosenkrantz was almost in the grass trying to get through a Shevlak right now. Patience is starting to wear thin with these two. Brilliant battling right now for second and for fifth as Lucas Hahn tries to deal with Emil Bernstorff. Picture in picture at Zandvoort.
And Bernstorff doing a fantastic job to hold off Lucas Hahn. Lucas Hahn didn't quite get a job pass done there, but he got very, very close and then sort of lost it all as they came into the second sector. So the two battles going very, very hard. And this one for second, there's absolutely no bars left. It is everybody's guess as to what's going to happen.
Well, this is a case of a Norwegian defending like a lion with all he's got. Chris Rosenkrantz has thrown an absolute haymaker, but he gets a great run here, and there's not much between them. Again, he'll have to go the long way around. Again,
Oh.
he's not happy in the middle. There's a slide through the middle, though, from Timothy Friis-Larsen, but too much caught on the outside. There wasn't enough leeway to go forward for Rosenkrantz. Again, he gets caught up and can't find a way.
I did think he was actually going to get that move done with the fact that Friis-Larsen had a bit of a slide mid-corner, but he just held onto it enough and got enough of an exit to the point where Rosenkrantz wasn't able to take advantage. One thing I have noticed as well, Rosenkrantz seems to be very quick in a straight line as well, down that front straight, even without a draft and overtake. So if Friis-Larsen doesn't get the run out of the 12th corner, he's not going to be able to defend from Rosenkrantz here very well. Oh, and another slide as well.
How much has he burnt his tyres up making those big moves to defend? I wonder whether he's overdriving this. Is Timothy Friis-Larsen. He's been put under immense amounts of pressure. You look at Bernstorff, same scenario. He's got Jake Spencer trying to close in as well behind, and they'll soon have the likes of Solovier to think about too. The Pole who has gone from 14th to 8th place out there. Top 10, by the way, scores points in the championship. Rosenkrantz again gets another run. There's the defence again, and once more, Rosenkrantz sits well off on the defence. There, I think, then, is a big dig from Timmy Friis-Larsen, who's overcooked it in. Rosenkrantz can't get the run because the banking down the hill helps out again.
I did think he might have actually got it there. I saw that he backed it out very, very early, and then got the overlap on the way out, but just, yeah, couldn't get the traction down, unfortunately.
And Lucas Hahn now has lost the place. This is off the exit of turn 1, and you don't often see it off the exit. You might see it on entry, but not the exit. He was deep in, couldn't get any drive. Look at this from Rosenkrantz, though. Before any of that, another look at turn 9. Now will he look to the inside at 10? Line is covered.
Yeah, I don't think the move was going to be on there at all, with the fact that Friis-Larsen was covering it very, very aggressively, trying to hold that position off. These two are just not leaving anything on the table. They are absolutely scrapping like it's for the World Championship at the moment.
Well, for them it will feel like it. So this is the drive off the exit, nothing for Lucas Hahn, and Jake Spencer just sees it and breezes on through. So that a lovely run from 1 into 2, and Rosenkrantz again forces Timmy Friis-Larsen across. I think Rosenkrantz has got to be a lot more aggressive now here in terms of where his car placement is, or he can go the long way around. The road hard travelled. He'll have to go around the outside of Gerlach to get this done. Can he get to the inside and throw the block against their Timmy, who will go up the hill now and have the run up to Shevlak here. They'll go through at Rob Slowmaker, turn 5. It's Larsen with the run, but Rosenkrantz on the inside for Shevlak is not refusing on this one to give it up. Masters corner side by side. Timmy, what a move!
The outside and then straight to the defensive at the next corner. Fantastic move and very, very well strategic play of using that overtake system against Rosenkrantz. So he's got the position back, but how long is this going to last? Because it's quite clear that Rosenkrantz has got some immense pace in that car, and it's quite clear that he's got much better tyres as well under him.
He has got amazing potential to get through as Chris Rosenkrantz. The only issue is he can't. Timothy Friis-Larsen is a racing god at this moment as Jonsu Foster sets another fastest lap of the race. Here comes Rosenkrantz again. Now you've got to stay over here. Chris. You can't let him bully you to the outside of the circuit. But he sweeps around the outside again. Can Timothy Friis-Larsen get it back on the exit? Yes, but again they'll have to go now. Here to turn 2 at Gerlach. Again the room is given. Again it's low in. Oh no, it ends in tears. Timothy Friis-Larsen in the wall. The rear wing now. And Timothy realises championship points are going to be agonisingly fading away from him.
Yeah, he's going to drop well down to the back of the field, and at least very far back, and he's got to be careful on the way back with no rear wing as well, as he's further than the wall, trying to get back.
That will do it. That will do it. That's a retirement then for the number 1 driver, and it was coming. These drivers were throwing haymakers at each other. Someone was going to see a run out there. This one wasn't going the 12 rounds. Someone was getting dropped in the 4th, and that is exactly what you see. Rosenkrantz then holding that outside line. He tries to throw a deep dive down the inside. Nature of the corner is you fight for the top of the circuit rather than the bottom there, and ultimately for Timothy Friis-Larsen, he's on top, and it was misjudged by Rosenkrantz.
Yeah, really, really unfortunate there, and I guess it was going to happen either way. It didn't matter who was on the inside. With the way that corner banks up, it's like you just weren't going to get the rotation. Rosenkrantz, unfortunately, not able to stay down there long enough to let Friis-Larsen get ahead, but with how hard they were fighting, like you said, it was going to happen at some point regardless.
Now, if you want to talk championship, this is such an interesting scenario out there here at round 5 as they work forward here. So let's just put this into some perspective here as far as they go as they've exited round 4. No Adam Merchant, no championship leader. Timothy Friis-Larsen is out, he'll score 1 point. Dan Jiang's not here. Ben Ford's not here. Valerio Fagundes-Tavares, 5th in the championship. He's out of the race. JT Smeaton, he's not scoring a point. He's down in 13th at the moment and 8 seconds away from it. No Sonny Black, no Rob Mandermarker. And Victor Alad here is only scoring 1 championship point for being in 10th place. He's 9th in the championship. Rosenkrantz will get points in 10th. He's 2nd currently, so he'll stare down the barrel of about 15. But really, this is a case of write it off as a drop for the entire world.
Yeah, he's somehow ended up with the worst result of the season so far, and he's actually not going to lose anything out of it. It's one of those moments of going, well, that happened, but I guess move on and carry on, because it's not going to cost anything. It's almost a 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah, absolutely. You get yourself a chance to say, I gave it a go, it didn't work, but now it's going to offer everybody else a chance to start scoring big points and put their name up in the championship. What an incredible battleground it is going to be out there. Hand here in 6th position, looking to try and work a way up then towards the top 5 and get back at Jake Spencer, get back at Emil Bernstorff, who's there in 4th place. All the while, last time they crossed the line, it was a 13.2 second gap at the front of the pack.
Yeah, very, very large margin that our leader has pulled out. It's actually quite impressive how quick he is in relation to the rest of them, especially Friis-Larsen. When you think about what we've seen from Friis-Larsen in the past couple of weeks, where he's been the man to beat and then suddenly have someone out of the blue just turn up and basically whoop ass. It's been quite the proof in the pudding that these guys do not mess around, and there are some very, very fast guys in this car.
And every single week there's another quick driver who can jump in and say that he is world class in the way that he goes about business. You look at the damaged cars there of Yuki Shirakawa, Timothy Friis-Larsen in the pits, Tavares with nothing to really stipe on 4. And at the moment, you also say Jonsu Foster hasn't touched his battery either, so that's been critical. Spencer in 5th, though. It is a holding pattern at the moment. I think they're trying to buy themselves with a lot to the end. Jake Spencer has effectively 91 seconds more battery than Emil Bernstorff. That's a warning for the Dane.
Yeah, it certainly is. That's a lot of battery. That's pretty much an entire lap of battery. So he's going to be able to use that very, very aggressively later on in this race with a couple of laps to go. So Bernstorff not exactly in the best position, but he's not lacking pace either at the moment. And he's done a 14.5 in the last lap. He's obviously 3/10 slower than Spencer in that previous lap, but consistency-wise, Bernstorff is looking pretty good.
He is. He's comfy in the sense that he's not directly under pressure here. As they on lap 17, he took 6/10. He then lost a little bit, and then again there 0.2 of a second. We'll look at Spencer this time as he crosses over the line, takes another 10th out of it. 14-1 place 14-2, and so this is slowly turning into two groups of two. Because working into this right now is Kostek Solovier, 14th to 7th at the moment. Spencer all the way to the line, driving out of the exit. And Emil will know this circuit of Zandvoort very well from his racing days, back when it was flat, but he'll know the middle sector like the back of his hand from going up through the formulas.
Yeah, absolutely, and that real-life experience helps you a lot, but also the fact that he's done a lot of laps around here in the sim as well. Those combined knowledges are going to help immensely around this sort of circuit, especially from a racing standpoint as well. When you've got someone attacking you and you need to defend, you know exactly where to place the car to help you avoid being overtaken and how to defend the best you can. But meanwhile, further back, JT Smeaton is on the charge and he is trying to find a way on past Ragul.
Yeah, Rezgi there, Mohammed Amin Rezgi lets him go. JT Smeaton gets the run through 10 and realises, I'm quicker, that's not my fight. 12th is helpful as Rosenkrantz sets the fastest lap of the race now on a 1:13 flat. But Benjamin David still to go through, and then to Victor Awad. God, you don't think JT Smeaton could catch 6 seconds in terms of time out there in the last 6 laps, could you?
His pace is, yes, he did a 13.7 last time by, which would put him as the third, one of the fastest cars out there, so he might be able to, but I guess we'll have to wait and see, but probably not a person to not keep an eye on at this point.
Well, he'd love a point. It would certainly help him out in his championship efforts here, but this is the group our focus is with. Bernstorff, Spencer, Hand and Solovier here, who are 21 seconds off the race lead and really chucking it around here around Zandvoort right now. Bernstorff looking behind at Spencer, he's got it covered, and James Byrne is just those 2.5 seconds down the road where it gives a little sighter. It's a rabbit to chase out there right now for Emil Bernstorff. Nothing he can do. Oh no, JDS, Jack David Spickett around in trouble, and there goes his top 10.
Yeah, so we were talking about the fact that is JT Smeaton going to get a top 10? We've just automatically answered that question, and he is indeed going to get one based on that. So, unfortunate spin there for Jack, and very good luck, fortunes for JT Smeaton out of that. Oh, just getting too much on the power as well by the looks of it. So, unfortunately, losing the rear end, and around he goes.
Back steps out, very easy to do. It looked like it was on power application and just not carrying enough transfer speed to make that sit down and do what it wants to. So really tough there for Jack Davis Spickett, who's used to a car that does move about quite a bit, and a former Lotus 79 champion as well to note. So really difficult, drops the time, drops the place, and says, well, I don't want to drop anything more than that. Spencer remaining steadfast and close as Benjamin David desperately tries to hold JT Smeaton behind here through Masters Corner at turn 8 and needs all of the defensive prowess to stop. He goes wide though and says, look, I'm going to have to let you have it. There goes JT Smeaton, and there is his top 10.
Yeah, so he's going to get at least one championship point out of this, luckily. So, give me, I guess, damage limitation there in terms of the championship. Not ideal, obviously, to be that far back after where he started, but he's at least going to get something out of this in the end. And if he keeps pushing on, he might get one more point, but I think it might be just a little bit too ambitious, but we'll see how it goes.
We certainly will. This has been a wonderful race out there, full of surprise and intrigue and intention, but Spencer, if he wants to get it, I think he might actually be looking behind here late if he's not careful, with Lucas Hand in his Honda out there, and you get a look again. 180 plays 93. I think they're pushing to limits here, and Emil Bernstorff right now is on the I might need to use all my power now to break away mode. Oh, look at that double take entry into turn 9. That was a huge wiggle out there from Jake Spencer. He's pushing.
Yeah, he certainly is, and if he's not careful, he's actually going to get done by both Solorche and also Hand, because Hand's now on the button, and he's very, very close to Hand, who's looking to make that pass.
Yep, so he needs to find a way. He needs to know how tough of a day he is going to be sitting down and understanding. He will look around and hope that as far as today goes, he's got a chance, but now he has to defend. Here comes Lucas Hahn now, looking to try and get this transfer sorted up into that top 5. Working to the outside isn't going to work, so now he sits back into line. Can I get a run off the exit? Yes, inside of Gerlach. No, lifts out of it there. Wasn't brave enough, wasn't far enough alongside.
Yeah, he looked like he was going to make the move, but decided to think better of it. He's still on the button, so he's going to look to do it at the following corner. He's going to look to the outside. Oh, not quite going to have the overlap, though, and nearly makes contact with that.
Still have a go
rear.
now.
And he can still have a go. He's still on the button.
Yeah, well, absolutely. He's close enough. He might as well use it everywhere he can. Now he goes deep, and now he has to lift off of the button, surely now, and he'll be in the clutches of Kostek Solovier. This is what happens when you start battling on. You can see it there. Button's on. He's going to burn this one to the ground, and now he's in the red, which means he's down under 20%.
Yeah, and he's not got much left, and he's going to run out on the front straight at this rate. He's still on the overtake system, and he's still using. He's trying to close that gap back down so he can get close enough. Or 3, 2, 1, and he is out. That is it. He is dead in the water for the rest of the race with that overtake system.
That was his big shot, and it's not worked out for Lucas Hahn there. And I think, oh, there he goes. Oh, he's got him. He's got him. Jake Spencer. Oh, you left the bottom door open.
He's just locked up on the way into turn 1, and he's just basically put it out on a silver platter and go, here you go, here's the position.
But he will have 173 seconds to go and get it, unless Solovier decides he wants to go down the inside at Shivlak. Door ajar, not going to go through there. But Solovier now is going to be someone who's on the aggro, and now buttons being pressed here by Jake Spencer. He knows he's got to start using it here in the final stages, and that OTS system is now in full force. Last lap will start for the Sim Racing Nation driver of Jonsu Foster, who is out there and clear by 13 seconds at the front of this pack. Chris Rosenkrantz, there will be a sort of work between him. Hands off and hands out, banging the barriers there, going through at Hans Eyre's corner. He caught the anti-cut curb and has seen the end of his run on the final couple of laps of this race. Oh dear me, oh, that's going to really hurt. It will help JT Smeaton, it will help Victor Awad. Here's the look at it, just over the curb and nowhere to try and bring it back. The barriers are so close there on Hans Eyre, because you don't expect a car that far along, but troublesome to say the very least. Just the lap car here to go and deal with. That is Boyan Kuzna, who will fall that one lap down. And simply put, everyone's been pushing for these final laps. No one has come within an inch of this driver. No one has come within a mile of Jonsu Foster. Now heading to Ari Luyendijk corner. It's long gone Jan as he makes his way to the line. Jonsu Foster has decimated the strongest field we've ever seen here in Super Formula.
The dominant victory, just drove away from the field, didn't matter who it was, just pulled away and absolutely whooped some ass. So a great drive there. James Byrne going to get a podium out of this week as well, so another nice haul of points. Purple lap from Rosenkrantz as well for good measure. It's not over further back though. Awad and Smeaton going at it. Smeaton's out of overtake, so I'd say he's not going to be able to get this one done, unfortunately, as Awad's now on the button. He's going to have the draft, but he's just not quite going to have the power and be close enough. So Awad just barely going to hold on to 8th place here.
Well, without the dramas around, that would have denied a top 10 for JT Smeaton. He'll take 2 more points then in the pocket, but definitely not enough for what was a tall-ordered battle here at Zandvoort, and we will get the confirmation now rolling up across your screen, because Jonsu Foster has dominated proceedings today. He's won by 12.6 from pole position over Chris Rosenkrantz, who came together with Timothy Friis Larsen in the biggest moment of the race. A quiet run for James Byrne, with his father Jamie spotting him for today's running. Emil Bernstorff will be 4th, and Jake Spencer rounding out out your top 5. It's then Kostek Solovier in 6th position. The pole, Nodi Amel, having a wonderful day. Up 10 spots, the biggest mover. Gets 7th with Victor Awad in 8th. JT Smeaton 9th. And Jack David Spickett rounding out your top 10. Smeaton with the contact, of course, on the early first lap even of the race. Benjamin David, 11th for him, with Mohamed Amin Rejgi there in 12th position, the last finisher on the lead lap. 1 down for Boyan Kuznar, for Brett Greaves, and for Lucas Hand, who found the barriers with 2 to go. And big retirees championship-wise for Timothy Freaks Larson and Valerio Fagundes Tavares. And a shame that we didn't get the chance to see what Yuki Shirakawa was all about. He looked quick in qualifying, but got run over out of the Hugenholz by JT Smeaton. We do have to pay the bills here at SimSpeed TV, and this show cannot be brought to you without the very, very important help of SyncMesh, of Pimax, of the likes of Scorpio Esports. Get good. And, of course, with Gridfinder. This show has been brought to you courtesy of Full Push Sim Gear, Canada's ultimate destination for elite gear. From precision pedals to professional turnkey rigs, we fuel your obsession. Pure performance, expert support. Push harder, drive faster. This show brought to you by Traction.gg. If you're enjoying the virtual action and want to understand more about the goings-on within sim racing, visit the Traction.gg website daily for the latest platform updates, news, and interviews. Stay up to speed with the industry, the developers, and the latest equipment. That's Traction.gg. We can also sign up for their weekly email newsletter. This show is brought to you courtesy of Sim Racing Nation, the community for sim racing enthusiasts and motorsport professionals from around the world. They focus on fostering competitive racing and an environment for drivers of all skill levels, and also they know how to win races like these. This is brought to you in part by the Sim Gaming Expo, which returns on September 18th through 20th in Schaumburg, Illinois, North America's only event celebrating every genre of simulation gaming under one roof. Get your tickets at simgamingexpo.com. This show is brought to you in part with TDI 99. Level up with 15 years worth of racing grit. TDI delivers pro tips, quick laps, and the hard truths F1 won't discuss. Follow TDI 99 on YouTube today. This show brought to you with the pace brought by Tamash Setups. Take your iRacing setups to the next level with Tamash Setups. Get race-winning, well-reviewed setups for Super Formula and Super Formula Lights today. Head on over to tamashsetups.com or search for Tamash Setups on Patreon. And also, this show brought to you by the Into the Apex podcast. The Into the Apex podcast follows the world of sim racing as if in a Discord or on a Friday night around the track campfire. You can see more at intotheapex.com. A lot to try and unpack and get through, with a lot of running here from racing out there. We've got a number of drivers then looking to chat along with us. Am I right in saying we've got Jonsu Foster?
Yep, you got a copy.
We got a copy. What a dominant display from you today out there. I believe we can call you Kevin. But talk about today in terms of the run of what you had. Gap opened up immediately and the focus was just building momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't get the qualifying laps that I wanted to in. I was feeling a little shaky. There was a wind direction change. So we had a lot of variables come up that made it so that it was difficult to know what the car was going to do. Managed to still get the pole. I know Timothy was on a screamer of a lap, but happened to invalidate. And, that's qualifying. You got to keep it on the track. Got off to a good start, kept the lead, and as soon as I saw there was a gap on the first lap, I just put my head down and tried to really concentrate on feeling what the car was doing with the slight change in wind direction and then start pushing from there.
That ability to have that margin, yes, there was troubles behind, but this is a field that is just a shy under 6,000 iRating out there. It's a very strong Super Formula field. And for you in the Sim Racing Nation community car, getting the big victory done and winning by a margin like this, that's got to be an ultimate confidence booster for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels fantastic to be back in the seat. I've been working abroad, so I've been away from the sim for actually a couple months, but decided to hop in last night at 4 or 5 a.m., get some practice laps in, and saw that the pace was there and decided to do the broadcasted race with you guys. So a big shout out to Sim Racing Nation and Alan over there, because he's always blowing me up in my DMs and in my WhatsApp asking when I'm going to be back. Same for my competitors like Timothy and JT. They're friends of mine, and they always are wondering what I'm doing when I'm not in the sim and in the weekly races. So there's a big shout out to the whole community. It's just a fantastic place to be.
Right, let's talk about next week, because we hope you're going to be with us next week after a result like that. It's Jerez that will be coming up, very similar to a circuit like this one at Zandvoort, in the sense that it's not the easiest place in the world to overtake. Do you feel like that this is going to be a race that comes up that, with just how wide open it's been, that even now here, sitting round 5, 1 round, 1 win, you're in a championship hunt?
Well, we'll see. Jerez is one of those tracks where I'm pretty on and off. I could feel really on it, or if you're not using all of the track and abusing the track limits, then you could find yourself 5, 6 tenths off with no clue why. So all I can really say is we'll see. I hope to be back for next week if my schedule permits, and yeah, we'll see how we do. You never know with this field. All of these guys are super, super talented, and every week we'll have fast guys rotate in. So it's never a given.
It very much never is. What a result there. Kevin out there doing it. Kevin Foster, Yonsu Foster, however you want to call it. A huge win out there here from Zandvoort here today. Third position over the line was James Byrne. He stood by with Cameron Dance.
James, it was a bit of a quiet one for you this week. Not so much action, having to just drive around lap after lap, but nevertheless, still on the podium and another good haul of points for you.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm a bit disappointed that I wasn't closer to Kevin and Chris, but I'm glad I could at least finish because others weren't so lucky.
We saw that there was a few incidents, unfortunately, taking out some of the quicker drivers, the likes of Fries Larson and Rosenkrantz coming together, and as well as Yuki, unfortunately, getting involved on lap 1. But in terms of Zandvoort, how difficult did you find it to get around here? Obviously, the overtake system helping in terms of passing sense, but was it really all that hard to get around this track with these cars, or is it just standard?
It is difficult and intense. You might have noticed, but we've got a lot of wind here too. And that's another variable in place. I think some people might even run setups for different winds. So like you have one for southwest and then one for north and so forth. But yeah, it's a very intense track.
Well, we head to Jerez next week. In terms of passing, it's going to be there's similarities in terms of difficulty, but much more flat and far less undulation and I guess exciting bits as far as driving goes. Do you reckon it's going to be a hard track to race on, or is it going to be a little bit easier?
It would probably be harder than this because we still have one long straight here. The start-finish straight at Jerez is smaller than this one, so and turn 1 isn't really isn't too hard of a braking zone. So yeah, it will be harder to race at Jerez.
Well, we'll see you next week. But before we let you go, any thanks and any shout-outs you want to give?
Just thanks to my dad for helping me out. He was spotting. Thanks to Alan and Gerhard for helping get the series going, and thanks to you guys for commentating.
Well, thank you very much, and we will hopefully see you on the podium again next week. And Sperry, you are standing by with Emil here.
I am. I've got Emil Bernstorff, and for those who understand in sim racing, this is sim racing royalty that we talk on with right now. Emil, starting 7th in a field like this, 6K in open wheel is not something that we get to hear too often, but for you who jumps from series to series, from place to place, quick pretty much everywhere you go and anything you take your hand to, just talk us through your race today, because it looked like that you took advantage of everyone's bad situation and came up trumps.
Yeah, it was. I didn't actually end up. I thought I'd have a bit more pace in the race, but I just ended up having lots of understeer, so I couldn't really do too much with those ahead of me. So I was I had my eye in the mirror most of the race, and yeah, thankfully for me anyway, a lot of people had problems ahead, so I ended up just gaining from that. But otherwise, it was a pretty I was hoping to be a bit quicker, basically, but it was a good race.
And in terms of from your position, knowing that you jump into a series, you look at what you want to race and whatever takes your fancy, how difficult is it for you to get up to speed and actually understanding the level of pace that is there from, say, racing like this, and how much that you are looking around and dealing with all of the actions that you've got? Because it's a pretty unique system here that you've got the OTS that's available to work with, and we saw that you were really deep into it by halfway, 2/3 into the race.
Yeah, I think I tend to use it a lot more earlier than everyone else. There's a bit of a tendency for most people to kind of wait until the last few laps, and I kind of use it a bit more to try and build gaps. But obviously, if someone's right behind me on the last lap, then I do have problems. But yeah, I mean, I really like the overtake system in this car. It gives a lot of strategy, and yeah, it's fun to mess around with, and you can maybe catch people out. Which, yeah, it's really fun.
So 2 questions then before we let you go. Firstly, are we going to see you more on a full-time schedule with this car after racing something as manic as this today? And secondly, if not, where are we expecting to see you over the next week or 2 weeks in your streaming schedule?
Oh, I don't know. I usually stream on Mondays at the moment, but yeah, I'm a bit all over the place at the moment. I don't have too much time with for sim racing, but I'll be streaming here and there, but I'll try and get a few more of these races in this season. But yeah, I'll do my best for that. But keep an eye. Just give me a follow on Twitch if you want, and then you can get notified, and then it'll be you'll know when it happens. I guess.
Be there or be square, I guess, is the responsibility. 4th place today for Emil Bernstorff, and a wonderful drive as well from him. Cam Dance has walked down the virtual paddock, and I think he's got a little bit of a downtrodden Timothy Friis Larsen.
Yeah, Tim, unfortunately, the race ended how it did. Not the way that I think anybody would have liked, but nevertheless, it was a fantastic race up until that point, and you had something pretty good going.
Yeah, no, first of all, a big congrats to Kevin Foster for returning after like half a year and completely destroying us all. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the fastest Super Formula driver on iRacing. But yeah, yeah, the race didn't go as it wanted, of course, and it all started in qualifying because I don't know if you saw, but my second qualifying lap was on pace to put me on pole position, but I just made a stupid mistake, and yeah, I got enough track and got that lap invalidated. So yeah, and then from going from a perfect qualifying setup to probably the worst race setup I've ever made, and yeah, I just had no pace, and yeah, Chris caught up, and we had a good fight for a while, but then unfortunate incident, and turn 3 happens, and yeah, I have my view on that, but it is what it is.
Nevertheless, it was fantastic to watch. I imagine it was pretty intense in the driver's seat as well. We saw you two fighting pretty hard as far as the overtake system goes, using it in very strategic ways, and obviously it created some very, very good racing. Was there any sort of plan as far as not necessarily defending, but just using the overtake in general to try and keep the position and obviously pass each other at this track? Obviously, racing is quite hard with the fact that there's not many opportunities to pass. So how important was the overtake system to get passes done and also defend with it as well?
Yeah, no, as you say, it was really important to use it strategically because it's hard to overtake here. So my plan was to just preserve as much as I could while getting Chris to use some. Yeah, it was working, I would say. But yeah, hard to judge how it would play out after the incident. So, but yeah, it was strategic for sure, and yeah, it really adds a good bit of strategy to the racing, the overtake system.
It does. Well, we head to Jerez next week, and it's probably going to be just as hard of a track, if not hard of a race. Are you looking forward to it at all? And just any thoughts?
I have never driven that track in iRacing before, so it's going to be a unique challenge learning a new track. But yeah, I'll I'll see what I can take away from what I've learned, doing my own setups this week, and see if we can beat Foster if he returns.
Well, nevertheless, just before we let you go, though, any thanks, any shout-outs you want to give real quick?
Yeah, of course, to my team, Scorpio Esports, and we got a bunch of visitors here at home, so a big thanks to all of them for supporting me and watching, and big thanks to you guys at SimSpeed as well for making this possible.
Right, well, thank you for your time, Tim, and hopefully it's a much better week next week for you. Well, Sperry, it's looking like we're getting to the next half of the season, and there is some very, very interesting circuits up.
Yeah, halfway we'll be at Jerez in 7 days' time, but look at how different it will be for that second half of the season, with the exception of Long Beach and potentially the Hungaroring and Imola. It's not it's a lot more open and a lot more expansive. I look at Interlagos, I look at Suzuka, I look at Silverstone. Those are 3 circuits that you expect it to be a big battleground where everyone's going to be absolutely on it, managing the OTS system. So, Cam, I turn the question to you. When you've got open circuits and some very close ones like Long Beach, what are you targeting out there to go and get the points necessary?
I think for some of these tracks, especially Long Beach, it's going to be about just getting the result. I think those sort of tighter circuits like Long Beach, Hungaroring, Jerez, it's all going to be about just getting a result. Don't worry too much about having to defend really, really hard. If you're someone like Timothy Friis Larsen, you're going to need to more focus on getting those points, especially if someone like Rosenkrantz is going to be very, very aggressive, and you're going to have some very quick guys coming into this as well. So you're going to need to score some points, be consistent, make sure you're finishing, and then as far as the other ones go, it's just, I guess, business as normal. It's a flat European circuit, apart from Suzuka, obviously, but it's a nice, easy circuit, one that provides really, really good racing, hard racing at best, but nevertheless, it's circuits that you shouldn't have too many issues with, and you're going to be able to at least bail out and not have an incident if you really, really have to. So it's going to be a fascinating second half of the season, and it's really going to be exciting with some of these tracks coming out.
The only place you can catch it is with us at SimSpeed TV and as well with iRacing 2. We will be over at Jerez, the circuit de Jerez, Angel Nieto, as we sit down into the Andalusian region of Spain, down near Seville, and we'll get ourselves set for that at 8:30 GMT, 9:30 BST, or as you go through 4:30 PM Eastern for those in the US. But a wonderful day with Jay Kennedy on cameras, Cam Dance on commentary with me, Jake Sperry. That sets itself up as what this series is all about. Big racing, big personalities, big efforts to go out there and win. The best of the best trying to prove what they are all about. But critically, when you see Timothy Friis Larsen by the wayside, nothing for Valerio Fagundes today. Troubles of minor points for JT Smeaton and Victor Awad. This is one where you turn, you look at the championship board and you say, clean slate, everyone go attack in 7 days' time. There is one big concern for everyone who's looking at championship pictures out there, and it's the return of Kevin. He was long gone, Ionsu Foster here today, completely controlled it, completely dominated, and as far as next round goes, I think half of the field prays that he doesn't turn up and give everybody a second demonstration of his prowess.
Have you always dreamt of becoming a racing driver or turning passion into something real? At Scorpio Esports and Race Gen, we exist to make that journey possible. Backed by Scorpio Motorsport, a real racing team with 26 years of experience, we develop talent from sim to circuit. Just like Jason Kasman, who is now stepping into GB4. This is more than esports. This is a pathway. Join us today.